Today's reading is okay, we're live. So it's from Monica in Austria, and this was written in March 2012. And this is healed through watching the documentary film. Can you imagine that? That you could receive so much beautiful energy just getting present to the amazingness that's natural that we think is miracles. So here goes the story. So Monica, her burden. In 1995, I had a traffic accident in which my pelvis was fractured and the left leg was badly bruised. Since then, I suffered daily from a piercing, pulsating pain in the pelvic area, and my left leg, I could not carry more than 3.5 pounds. Anything above that light load intensified my pain. I was also totally limited in my mobility, meaning that I could not do any sports, run, or swim. So about a year and a half, I was back in the hospital for a checkup, and scoliosis was diagnosed. But But I refused exercise therapy because of these ailments. I could not carry the 35-pound sack of dog food, or later on my little daughter without pain. Neither could I walk without pain. Sometimes the pain even came when I was in a resting position. How horrible. Because of another traffic accident in 2006, pain in the cervical spine was added to all this. Due to that pain and the limited mobility in that area, I could not use the car on some days because I was unable to either turn my head left or right. She is in a lot of restriction, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. That's been 10 years now that's been going on. So all through my years at school, I suffered again and again from headaches, which were caused by stress. They started in the neck area and spread all through my head. This pain, which would last for almost 3 to 4 days each time, oh my gosh, and which occurred about once a month, was like a fog, which kept me from knowing my way and following it. I could not plan my days because the priorities seemed indefinite. Furthermore, I had trouble concentrating at school. During adulthood, this affliction continued until my introduction. Third burden. Ever since elementary school, I had suffered from recurring influenza infections with rheumatic pains, fatigue, and high temperatures. From the age of 15 on, I had suffered from infections of the urinary tract with a burning, wow, look at that, the sun came out, isn't that beautiful? Whoa, now, it's glorious. See, it's one of those glorious days, just burst through the dark clouds. Now I'm in focus here. So she had, where was she? Okay, so I had suffered with infections in the urinary tract with a burning sensation when urinating up to 3 times a year. I received a variety of antibiotics. That only brought a short-lived relief. The affliction kept coming back. I had also suffered from vaginal meiosis since 1991, which, despite medical treatment with salves and suppositories, would recur every 3 to 6 months. Okay, and people just live with these things ongoing. Her fourth issue was that she, starting with her pregnancy in January 2003, I suffered from asthenia and flatulence. I had massive abnormal stools and stomach cramps. These afflictions would then last for 3 days. Back then, I breastfed my daughter, who suffered at my side. A physician recommended that I avoid certain grains. Whenever I paid attention to not eating any wheat, I was free from symptoms mentioned above. After a gastroscopy in 2005, which was very painful, a minimal chronic gastritis was diagnosed. During this year, before my introduction, I suffered from all the afflictions and pains I described. Okay, this is normal for so many people. They just live with inflictions. They think there's normal because the doctor can't do anything else. And for those of us that know, that have healed from the inside out, whether on our own journey, releasing beliefs, taking in energy, we know it's permanent, that you have the power within. That's what's happening now in this major shift that's going on. So how did she get healed? Well, in October 2007, I had no job, and together with my daughter, who was 3.5 at the time, shared an apartment. I wished to be allowed to live happily. With all my heart, I turned to God. Shortly after, in March 2008, I found a job and a house nearby. Then I also got to know a dear friend. She told me about the healing in the spiritual path, on the spiritual path through Bruno Gruning's teaching. After a few months had passed, I wanted to know more and received the children's introductory CD. On September 14, 2008, I saw the documentary film about Bruno Gruning and was introduced to the Bruno Gruning teaching afterwards. Since then, I regularly attend the community hours and take in the power every day on my own. It's so true. So many times I'll mention this to people and they'll go like, yeah, okay, right. Because it's just so unbelievable because they suffered for so long. So everybody does things in their right time. And this is kind of what's gone on in 2020. For many of us, way back in March, we said there's more going on than what you think is going on. And people are like, no, no, no. And now after this period of 9 months, and they're going, wow, I think there's more going on because there's so many, for each person, there's lots of things that just don't make sense. So this is the point, is everybody has to come to their own conclusions in their own time. And we just trust the process. So in her case, here's her healing. When hearing the introductory CD and a day later, while watching the documentary, I felt a current. And it's true, it is a current. It's like you just feel this stream running through you, running all through my body, which I had a feeling of cleansing and bodily straightening. I sensed who Bruno Gruning is and felt a strong connection to him. And this comes up from the floor. It doesn't like stream down from there. It comes up. It's all through you. It's present because God, source, consciousness, creator, whatever you want to call it, is always present with every breath, with every moment. It's there. You just got to rub the sleep out of your eyes and wake up from the dream or the nightmare. Okay. So regarding burden 1, ever since going to the movie, I do not have any more pain in the pelvic area and in my spine. Once again, I can carry as much as my physical fitness allows, for example, 35 pounds, pellet sacks, or even such heavy things as the case of 12 full glass bottles. I can once again twist my body to the left and right without any pain, do sports such as hiking, horseback riding, or running. And once again, I can drive a car without any limitations in my mobility. Think of how much freedom that is and how delightful that is. You discover that. Regarding burden number 2, since attending the documentary film in September of 2008, I am freed from the physical burdens I described. After seeing the movie, I only have slight headaches, which disappear after seeing the movie. I only had slight headaches, which disappeared 2 to 3 days after. Then I only had a very slight headache for 1 day at the most. And since I accepted that is Regalugan, which means that your body's detoxing, you got to get rid of the pain. You start to see things like the shadows of what's going on now. That's what I say. The healing's already occurred for the planet. We're just seeing the residual shadows of how broken our politicians, our media, our health system is. And everything else, white colonialism, you name it. There's a long list. There's a long list that we've been shown in 2020. So she realized it was Regalugan, and that burden was taken from me as well. 3 months later, I was finally freed from all those afflictions. So no more headaches. Regarding the burden number 3, so she doesn't suffer influenza infections anymore since seeing the film, nor from urinary tract infections either. Bonus. Regarding the burden number 4, on the day after watching the documentary film about Bruno Gruning, I ate 3 pieces of cake. I know that's a lovely one, and felt good and fit. Since then, I can eat wheat products without showing any of the symptoms I mentioned above, the flatulence and them. Okay, I live without keeping any diet and am healthy all around. I know, it's such a great thing. Like things that I used to be allergic to, they're just gone. It really is a whole new world. It's like Dorothy going to Oz. And realizing she always had the shoes on, she always had the power. That's what's going on. You have the power. So here's what the physician had to say about this. The physician said, from a medical point of view, it is totally inexplicable that pain in the pelvic area and all along the spine, which had lasted for over 12 years, would disappear spontaneously after watching the documentary film about Bruno Gröning. Neither can I give any medical explanation as to the sudden disappearance of the chronic headaches, being prone to infections with wheat intolerance. These afflictions, which had lasted for years, for me as a physician, that resembles a miracle. Dr. Weir, MD, okay? So this is the idea. What we think are miracles are really natural. When you stop living in your limited box of your mind and you open up to your heart, open up to what's really there, open up to the cloud is coming, the sun is coming through the clouds, even though the sun's always shining. It's always shining, and it can burst out or it can have rays. Oh, it's magical. It's really magical with all these rays coming through the clouds right now. It's all there. It's just up to you whether or not you want to open. So Bruno Gröning documentary film, the community hours, they exist all around the world. The film's on YouTube, and that organization is there. It's run by donations. It's magical that whatever they produce, the CDs, the movies, everything they've ever done has always been within the money. The donations coming in has always equaled the expenses going out. The books that they've created, the CDs, the movies, all in flow. What comes in goes out. That's the idea of living in the divine. Okay, that's what nature does. You know, the squirrels gather the nuts for this winter. They don't go, you know what, I might need a whole bunch for the next 10 winters. They gather what they need for this particular time. That's the world we're going to trust and believe that things are in flow. Brazzo, he's gazing right now. You could do free gazings. That's there, 13 gazes a day. Brazzo.me, if you've never heard of him. If you need some more one-hand hand-holding, that's where I'm in the gap between those two things. You want some extra hand-holding without paying exorbitant fees, you know, and want some day-to-day coaching and mentoring. That's where I fit in here. There is something for everyone wherever you're at. If health and healing really is what you want. I know it sounds outrageous. I know it sounds too good to be true. I know it sounds miraculous. And I felt that way once too. You know, I spent 7 years getting diagnosed, 10 more years on drugs, and another probably 10, 15 years going from acupuncture, chiropractor, looking for alternative answers. Everything had some effect, but nothing ever completely healed and gave me vibrancy, more vibrancy all the time. So those of us that know, we know, and we shout it from the rooftops, and that's what's going on in 2020. There's so many of us that are like wanting to say, snap out of it, and we've been censored or, you know, in a variety of ways. So it's here, it's now. You can step forward into this new world, your best whole new world, which I've been calling for about like 3 years now. Or you can stay contained and living in your mind and your limited beliefs and your suffering. When it's the right time for you to say, I want more, I want health, I want to feel free, I want to know my finances are taken care of, I want to know my relationships are good, I want to feel peace within my whole body, then step out, trust the process. The answers are there. Your inner guidance knows what's best for you. Your God-given, creative inner guidance. You were designed as an intelligent being with all the knowledge that you could possibly have as an individualized expression of Source God consciousness. Allow yourself to truly be and discover what's really real, and what you think is a miracle really is life here, and it's natural. It's always been here. And again, it's just rubbing the sleep out of the eyes and waking up and going, wow, have I been missing out?